David, what kind of changes have you witnessed down there? I mean, how do you feel the state of New Orleans is today?
You know, I've been back here a number of times since that storm, Matt, and every time it seems like there's been more and more progress. So you notice things in a very physical sense. There's a new hospital that opened up that we went to take a look at, for instance. But you also notice, as Mitch Landry was alluding to there, how much stuff has changed here structurally. So just talk about the school district here. That was, after the storm, all but closed down. Tons of teachers were fired. It was a recovery school district for a time, and now you see a city with a huge amount of charter schools like nowhere else in this country. The same sort of reinvention happened with the healthcare system here. Many more clinics than there were before. So just everywhere you look, the place looks different, and as Mitch Landry was saying, there does seem to be this palpable sense of momentum moving forward.
David, Michael Bloomberg, of course, the founder of Bloomberg LP and the former New York City mayor, he wrote a Bloomberg View column about what was going on in New Orleans, and I'd like to read part of it. It's entitled, "A Decade Later, New Orleans Men's Finances and Neighborhoods." It says, New Orleans has a long way to go to improve economic opportunity for all of its residents, but in each case, the city is embracing, as the mayor wrote, imaginative and innovative policies that have brought it back from the brink of collapse and offer hope for what the next 10 years will bring. Mayor Landry basically told you the same thing. This is an enormous undertaking. What type of help is New Orleans getting from the private sector to accomplish its goals?
A ton of it. And so as Mayor Landry alluded to there, he's had a lot of support from foundations, private foundations, who saw the needs here in New Orleans, came down here, offered to help. So a lot of targeted investment in education, in healthcare, that continues. There's also just been a huge amount of focus on finding new ways to take this economy in different directions. So you think about the New Orleans economy historically, tourism has been huge, petrochemicals, transportation, education. There's a sense now that there has to be something different to add to that. Biotechnology, digital technology, these are things that the city and the state have invested very heavily in, trying to get more companies to come here, trying to make this a hotbed for both of those things. So just walking around, there's now a new neighborhood called the Bio District in a very nascent stage, as everybody told me here. I mentioned that hospital that we visited a couple of days ago. That's a huge facility, 2.3 million square feet. And around that, the city hopes we'll see the growth of a lot of small companies, and that will give rise to bigger companies thinking that New Orleans is a place where they could relocate.
You know, one of the most important prerequisites for investment is the rule of law. And New Orleans wasn't a terribly safe place before Katrina. After the storm, it was incredibly dangerous, a lot of crime. How have they turned that around? Because I know that they've done a great job in fighting crime and making it a safer place for tourists and businesses.
You know, it's still very much a focus. Mayor Landry said that, you know, there still is a lot more work to be done, especially when you look at the city's murder rate, the amount of crime. That's down a bit, but still not to where he wants to see it, and certainly where not everybody wants to see it. When you talk about corruption, other aspects of doing business in the city, Mayor Landry emphatic that there needs to be more transparency still, even as he's encouraged that in his first term, now into his second. That's still going to be very much a focus of his, he says, going forward.
All right, David, thanks very much for that. Bloomberg's David Gura there, coming to us from New Orleans. He's got special reports that you can check out on our website as well at Bloomberg.com. Definitely very interesting work that he's done down there the whole week.
Kind of hard to believe it's been 10 years. That went by really, really fast. And New Orleans has come a long way. But as the mayor mentioned, as David told us, still have a long ways to go. But, you know, they have faith. It's a great American city. They'll do what they can to bring it back to life.